Hi, Dalla Valle. We are beyond excited to have you join us tonight virtually to describe these three truly extraordinary wines that we're going to enjoy with dinner tonight in the wine cellar. Thank you so much for taking the time to tell us a little bit about each of these wines. Welcome to the wine cellar at Four Paws.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here virtually.
I wish you were in here in person, but if you're here in person, we'd only be able to do it one night. This way we can do it any night, and that's the
Exactly. Until
advantage of
they
this
figure out
program.
how to clone me.
So we're going to start with the 2021 DVO. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so DVO is a collaboration that we do with Ornellaia in Tuscany. We've had a long-standing friendship with their team, and we came together to make this new wine in the Napa Valley, using our, old world sensibility with new world freedom because most of my training has been in Europe. I worked at Ornellaia in 2013 with Axel Heinz and has kind of planted, that's how the seed I think got planted for this project. So it's a Napa Valley wine. We work on sourcing the best vineyards for this project that best can represent both brands. And in the 2021 iteration of this wine, we have vineyards coming from Howell Mountain, as well as Oakville and Coombsville. So this wine is going to have a very different personality from the following two that you will taste from the Dalla Valle Estate, intentionally to as it is meant to represent both partners in a form of a wine. So it's a predominantly Cabernet Sauvignon blend, and there's about 36% Cabernet Franc sourced into this wine.
I was in Napa in September, and everybody was raving about the 2021 vintage. What
Yes,
the right
2021 is
vintage?
a fantastic vintage. We had a drought conditions, so the yields were smaller. We had really nice small clusters, very thick skin berries, and so it was all about managing extractions through the winemaking process and really just not making sure for both the DVO and the Della Valle wines that we didn't get too carried away with extraction. So I think that it has great freshness as well, but this wine is going to age quite a long time.
I'm aware that we're drinking it way too young, but it's the only vintage we have. You know,
That's the only way we stay in business as well. So
yeah, when I first was became aware of DVO, I instant messaged you on Facebook, and I contacted your distributor here, and I think I asked them about 50 times if we could possibly get some. Never really, I know it's enormously small production wine. I would never really thought that we'd be able to get any, but we were thrilled when we were able to. It's very special to have it on our wine list. So thank you for that too.
oh, my
Um,
pleasure. Yeah, 600
yeah,
cases production, so pretty limited.
yeah, that's that's very limited. Um, I mean, it's not Domaine Loire limited, but it's pretty darn limited if you think,
Yeah.
Lafitte makes 28,000 cases a year. Um, uh, so we're going to follow that with the 2021 Estate Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yes. So we're going to move into the wines coming from our estate. We are a 20-acre estate vineyard on the east side of Oakville, about 500 feet elevation above the valley floor. Iron-rich, rocky clay loam soils, very ideal conditions for growing Cabernet Sauvignon and Cabernet Franc, which are the two grapes that we farm, in addition to a little bit of Petit Verdot. We are organically certified and we farm biodynamically as well. And we're today a mother-daughter run estate. The winery was started by my parents in the early 80s. They came to Napa and founded the estate in 86. So we're getting close. I believe this year will be 40 vintages. and next year will be 40 years. So we're really excited to usher in the next decade of making wines from this estate. So the Cabernet is meant to be the representation of Cabernet Sauvignon from our estate. We do like to blend a little bit of Cabernet Franc in each vintage, and the 2021 we have about 11% Cabernet Franc in the blend. Um, we age for 24 months in French oak as well as terracotta clay amphora. And we let it bottle age for a year before we release it into the marketplace. So I love the 21. The Cabernet is a fabulous wine, food wine. It's very versatile. It is very popular. It's probably the wine we drink the most out of our family of wines at home. And I hope you enjoy it as much as we do.
You say mother daughter. Is it that you and your daughter? Your daughter wouldn't be old enough to be a be.
It's my mom and I.
That's what I
My
thought.
mom runs it. So my dad passed away in 95, so she has been running the estate herself since 1995 until I came back in 2017.
So your mother's still active.
She's still, yeah, she is. She was in this Zoom screen with me. She would be very proud to let you know that she still signs my paycheck. So she is very much my boss.
Well, you apparently are a very good team.
Yes, we work very well as a team.
Do you think of yourself? I'm always interested to ask this question. Do you think of yourself as a female winemaker, or is that not important anymore and you're just a winemaker and there's so many great female winemakers now, it's not something that needs to be drawn attention to?
Yeah, I think, when we were talking a little bit before we started this meeting, you mentioned, Gaia and Allison Tauzier from Colgan. There are many, many great female figures in the wine industry and even, Leroy. Um, I think, I think we're reaching a point now where of course, I always champion women in the wine industry, but I think, we have equal amount of talent and opportunities now. And I can't say I've ever felt the need to identify myself specifically as a female winemaker versus just a winemaker. I think that for me is a real sign of progress to just identify as a winemaker.
I agree. It's just you can tell I'm not 25 years old. So when first started in the wine industry, there were very few female winemakers. There was Corinne Mentalopoulos and Philippine de Rothschild and Lalubis Leroy, and that was about it. And now it just seems like all the great wine. Every time I taste a wine and am really wowed by it, it seems like it turns out the person who made it was a woman. Um,
That's
did you know that when
great.
Gaia first tried to apply to go to enology school, in Milan, they told her that they didn't admit women?
I did not know that. That's a shock. That
Gaia,
comes as a shock to me.
Angelo Gaia's daughter was refused admission to enology school in Milan. Of course, Angelo went to the school and convinced them to change their policy for his daughter.
Of course, as he
Can you
should
imagine?
have. Yeah, I think probably we're a little more progressive in the United States in terms of that. But
I mean,
yeah,
can you imagine if
being
Robert
half
Mondavi,
Italian, it doesn't quite surprise me.
if Robert Mondavi had had a daughter instead of two sons, I don't think UC Davis would have, denied her admission to the
No,
school.
I don't think so.
So we're going to finish with the 2021 Maya. Seems like a really uh, fabulous opportunity for something to finish dinner with. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. So the Maya cuvee is a special cuvee that my parents were nice enough to name after me. I was not named after the wine.
Right.
I do get asked that a lot. So just as a clarification. Um, but this is a special cuvee. The base is coming from Maya's Vineyard, which is our top block of Cabernet Sauvignon, and we blend that with a high percentage of Cabernet Franc, typically in the 40% realm. So I think that's something that people don't always realize that since the first vintage we produced of this wine is 88. And since the beginning, it's been always a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon and Cabernet Franc. And having that high percentage of Cabernet Franc, I think, really adds like lift and complexity to the wine. I would invite everyone dining to let it sit in the glass and over time just keep returning to it because you'll see a massive evolution into the aromas and the flavors in the wine as the dinner progresses. So I think it's I call it a philosophical wine in a way because it really makes you think. And you pick up the glass, you smell it, taste it, and it makes you really think because it doesn't give everything away all at once. So you're like, oh, that's really interesting. What was that smell? And you go back to it, and then every time you pick up something different. So it's a really fun wine to experience, in my opinion.
There are wines that are intellectual. You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
we have one of these dinners with Larry Turley. His wines are not intellectual. They are
I love
very,
Larry though. He's great.
he's his wines are superb, but don't get me wrong, they're
Yes.
superb wines, but
Yes.
they are not intellectual wines. They are
Yeah.
in your face, intense experiences.
They
Um,
are intense experiences. You better, yeah, seatbelts fasten.
I'm gonna. He's nice enough to let me stay in his guest house when I was in there in September, and again when I'm back in June. So I love him to death because that's probably saving me about $6,000
It
that I get.
is.
I
It
don't have to
is.
book a hotel room for 2 weeks.
That's
Well,
right.
thank you so much. This was just perfect, and we're honestly the wines. I know the wines, and they're so extraordinary, and it's really fabulous to be able to add the dinner with your wines to our series of virtual wine dinners.
Oh, thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here virtually, and I hope to meet all of you at some point in the future in person.
If you're ever in the Twin Cities, we'll have to put together an in-person experience in
That would
one of
be
the
great.
dining or
I would
dinner
love
places.
that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.